facilitator at Uni Athena. And along with me, I have Arga Chakraborty, who is a senior learning facilitator at Uni Athena. Together, we'll be your host for this exciting session. So I really thank you all for joining us. And I'm expecting a very vibrant and a very enthusiastic audience today. We see many people joining. Okay, let's start. So today we'll explore a very timely and important question: how brands can adapt to expectations of Gen Z, a generation that is digitally native, highly informed, and deeply committed to social and environmental causes. For Gen Z, transparency isn't just nice to have or just an option. That is completely non-negotiable for them. So to guide us through this discussion, we privileged to have two distinguished panelists, but then unfortunately, we couldn't have Mr. Amos due to some unforeseen emergency. He's not with us. He couldn't make up for the session. But then we have Mandana. Okay, so Mandana Ibrahimi is a founder and VP Strategy and Operations at ME Project Management Consulting, Toronto, Canada, who brings a wealth of knowledge in strategy and operations. So together, she'll be helping us unpack how businesses can navigate the new reality of radical transparency. We also want this to be a two-way conversation. So please feel free to share your thoughts and your questions in the chat box. We'll make sure to answer all of your questions at the end of the session. Let's see. Yes, we have many audiences still joining us. Okay. So let's begin with the introduction of radical transparency. So radical transparency is basically to go beyond legal compliance. It means brands openly share how products are sourced, priced, produced, and their impact on people and the planet. Now, for Gen Z, authenticity is everything. They don't want just a polished marketing. They want the full story of the product. Okay, so they are very much aware of what they are consuming, okay, and how it is impacting the planet. For example, we have Everlane clothing brand. I think it's pretty renowned. So Everlane clothing brand is built on radical transparency. So they break down the product costs, the supplier details, okay, so making it very much transparent. So is it really important? Since the upcoming generations want transparency, I would also like the audience to answer on this. So would trusting brand maybe more important, okay, or would you prefer trusting brands that are more transparent, are they are revealing all the details, and how much important it is for you? Let us know. Now, why does
Christina, I would like to,
Yeah,
I
tell
would
me.
like to have a icebreaker for the
Yeah, tell me.
audience, and
Yeah,
there will be
sure.
for the for all kind of audience, what they will
Yes,
prefer, whether they
yes,
will prefer
definitely.
transparency or whether they will prefer secrets like privacy, or they will prefer both, or they will
Mm-hmm.
prefer the genuine product. So I would like to ask all our audiences that what will you prefer? So we will be having two teams, team transparency and team privacy. And you can write in the chat box that what team will you prefer. So audience, please vote. Either you want to be in the part of team transparency or you are part of team privacy. We can take 30 to 60 seconds for the voting.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
yes.
will be
We already
that
have
will
people coming
yeah,
to transparency.
transparency. Wow. And what about privacy? Privacy is also very, I guess,
We have one on
important
privacy.
because
Some
okay,
prefer both actually.
Nijat saying privacy, Manu saying transparency. Davis is on privacy, Eunice privacy.
Uh-huh.
Kelvin is saying both.
So probably
Someone
it
is
is privacy for business owner and transparency for consumers.
correct. Yes, because I guess the way the product is being manufactured or developed, they are preferring that how the product is being developed. Like there are many products where certain unethical back operations are also occurring. Due to that,
Yes.
many transparency are the generation from Gen Z are preferring the
Yes.
transparency so that
Yes.
any kind of misconduct do not happen. In the
Right.
same way,
True. True.
privacy is also kind of important because many kind of if you go dig further, we can see that many misinformation are being considered, and due to that, fraudulent things are also occurred. So there are both way we can see transparency and privacy matters. But I guess
Yes.
transparency is far more important as everyone is considering. So let's see, we
Yes.
can go further and we can consider, we can get an idea from the live discussion. And I would like to ask our panelist, Mundana, that what do you think? What is the most important factor? Either privacy or transparency or both, or any other factor that you recommend or prefer? Can you please give your
Yeah,
some
absolutely. Thank you.
suggestions?
I
Yes,
think I think there needs to be a balance between both, right? Balancing transparency with competitive protection. It's about clarity without overexposure, right? Brands don't
exactly.
have to reveal, the algorithm or the recipe or trade secrets to radically be transparent, but they can rather focus on value-driven openness, right? So transparency on principle, not IP. For example, share commitments on sustainability, diversity, pricing fairness, or sourcing without disclosing the technical formula or the unique strategy. For instance, a food brand can disclose, ethical supply chain without publishing the recipe. So I think it's about layer disclosure. Yeah, right. Use tiers of transparency. Disclose what builds trust without stakeholders, footprints, progress towards goal, while keeping the product roadmap or margin structure confidential. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, yes, yes. So I guess
Absolutely. Absolutely.
privacy is also part important, but in in certain way, and also transparency is also important. Keeping the stakeholders' interest on priority. Based on that, we need to balance both, right? So we can go further, and Christina, you can continue with your discussion on this
Sure. Sure.
piece, right? Yeah.
Now, we actually saw that, today people are more inclined towards transparency. Now, why is it like that? The previous generation were not much aware of it. Okay, they just accepted products the way it were, and very rarely people looked into the ingredients or what a thing is made of. Now, if we see the Gen Z's profile, okay, they are basically born from 1997 to 2012. So people somewhere ranging where between 13 to 28 years old. So they value the authenticity, sustainability, and diversity of the products and also the ethics. Okay. So they are more aware. Okay. Thanks to maybe probably the most best part of social media is there are contents that make people more aware of what they are consuming. Now, if you see the buying behavior of the Gen Zs, they reward alignment with values and are willing to boycott brand that fails them. So if a product is willing to be transparent and they are more they are revealing the ingredients or the product, they are willing to accept them, and they are even ready to boycott the rest. Okay, so they are very much, and even they are very much loyal to products that are more eco-friendly and socially responsible. So even if it costs a little more for them, they are ready to be loyal. Now, Gen Z prefers thrifted clothes and eco-friendly products and brands that are more inclusive in representation. Now, next is why transparency matters to Gen Z. The Gen Z's expectations of transparency focuses on three areas. So firstly, it is sustainability. So the product life cycle disclosure, where it is made, how it is disposed. So that is, they want to know that. Next is the ethics. So whether the brands or the companies are offering fair wages and offering fair human working conditions to the employees, and ethics and inclusion. Yes. So whether they are there is racial representation in the ads, and gender and leadership and hiring. So this is not just about branding, it's about proving alignment of actions with values. So the next we have brands practicing radical transparency. So here we have a couple of brands that practice radical transparency. So first we have Patagonia that shares environmental reports, supports activism, and even runs repair programs to extend product life. Next is Everlane. So we already discussed about this. Everlane is a clothing brand, and it builds its reputation on radical transparency, where it breaks down the cost of the product and reveals the supplier details. And next we have Ben and Jerry's that goes beyond ice cream and openly discussing sourcing practices and taking a stand on social justice issues. Next, we have common practices across transparent brands. Now, publishing sustainability audits and public reports is important. Mapping supply chains to show where and how products are made, and communicating openly during crisis to maintain trust. Engagement. Now, engaging the audience is also very important. So many of the brands, they prefer to, to market their product in a way so that people are more aware of the efforts that they are taking, that how transparent they are. So this also becomes a marketing strategy for them. Now let's see what we have in impacts on business. Over to you, Arka.
Yeah. So I would like to light on the previous slide, like the discussion that how transparency is actually helping the companies. There are few companies who are who have recently started with their clothing business, and using their social media, they are what they are doing is they are showcasing their product, and they are showcasing their way of manufacturing the product, their clothing brand. And in this way, Gen Z are also preferring the way of the close look, right? So in this way, not only they are using the transparency, radical transparency, also they are using social media as the marketing tool. And in this way also, sometimes what happens, the brand is able to stand with the competitors using a good quality material. So how is it impacting the businesses? So first positive impact is it's creates a strong brand loyalty, right? So somehow when companies are uh, saying about their product lineup, their sustainability lineups and everything, their supply chain, all those things. Somehow they are creating a strong brand loyalty with the Gen Z consumers, and based on that, more consumers are they are gaining more consumers. Also, based on this, competitive differentiation is also happening. Some of the companies are allowing openness for the for the consumers, right? They are allowing, they are doing good works for the society. They are doing, uh, they are showcasing their financial lineups. They are including all those things. So it is somehow creating a competitive differentiation, and it is also attracting the conscious investor. So anyone who is looking for a company to invest, it is also helping the company to get good investors. So these are the positive impacts that the company that the recent companies are getting. But somehow there are also challenges that are also there. As Montana said earlier, the right to create the balances. So of course there are challenges. One of the challenges is the compliances and the operation cost. When you are uh, s- when you are giving transparency to the end users, it somehow uh, get you a higher operational cost. You have to showcase all this thing. You have to be transparent. So it's somehow getting a higher cost of operations. Risk of exposing weaknesses. Now, as earlier mentioned, that whenever you are transparent, you are prone to expose yourself to the competitors, and your competitor will try to get your weakness and try to crush you in the market. So you are prone to exposing yourself, and some the industry leaders, the company who are dominating the market, they will try to run you. So these are the things that are kind of exposing you in the weaknesses. And other than that, uh, managing information when there are huge amount of consumers from the back end, there is a high chance that there is a overload of information that has to be conveyed to the end users. So this is how the impact is occurring for both uh, positively and as well as negatively. So the challenges has to be addressed, and the positive impact has to be kept throughout their business life cycle. This has to be always kept in mind when they are considering any kind of transparency. Like as we can say that operational challenges, it may be sociological challenges, it may be sustainability audit challenges, anything that may reveal to the consumer, that will be the challenges. Exposing weakness, we can say supply chain flaw may be there. There may be some kind of labor issues. So this has to be kept in mind so that it doesn't get exposed to the to their competitors, right? So any thoughts on this, Mondana? You would like to
Yeah,
share
no, I
something?
completely agree with you. It's all about, to me, it's all about that fine balance without overexposure.
Yes.
And you're right. There's a big cost with higher compliance operationally, but it's great to have that balance to show, to build a strong brand royalty and be a competitive advantage. So I do agree with that.
Okay. So we can go to the next slide, right? So
Yes, yes.
Christina, questions are already here.
Yes, so here we have a first question to our panelist. So, Vandana, what does radical transparency mean to Gen Z, and how does it differ from traditional brand authenticity? That will be my first question to you.
Thank you. And what a great question, Christina. I think radical transparency to Gen Z goes really beyond that marketing gloss of authenticity. Authenticity in the traditional sense was about appearing genuine, using real stories, human tone campaigns, purpose driven branding. But Gen Z grew up in a hyper connected digital culture where information leaks, screenshots, whistleblowers can expose inconsistencies in real time. So for them, authenticity isn't enough unless it's backed by radical transparency. Brands openly showing their processes, mistakes, values, and decision-making process. Whereas authenticity says, trust us, this is who we are. Radical transparency says, here is everything, our supply chain, our sustainability gaps, even our failures, so you can decide if we are worth your trust. And there are some key differences. Authenticity is surface level storytelling. Transparency is systematic, sharing both polished and unpolished truths. Radical transparency hands control back to the consumer, allowing the Gen Z to form their own judgment without really pushing on them. Also, Gen Z expects brands to self criticize, not just self promote. Own up to your mistakes, earn more respects than carefully scripted campaigns. And real time proof, the Gen Z fact checking culture. Radical transparency means making data and evidence available, whether on sustainability, pricing, diversity and inclusion, or labor practices. And some of the examples are, traditional authentic brand might feature real employees in ad. A radical transparent brand, by contrast, might have live stream factory floor cameras for the world to see, really disclosing the supplier audits or publish the pay equity data between male and female employees. So radical transparency's authenticity on steroids. It's less about curating a believable narrative and more about allowing the consumer to see behind the curtain, warts and all. For Gen Z, credibility comes not from being perfect, but from being open, accessible, and accountable. And finally, I think authenticity is telling a good story, and radical transparency is showing the unedited truth. Over to you, Christina.
That's really nice to hear from you, Mandana. That is, I totally agree with you. Okay, so not just looking at the curtain, but then looking beyond the curtain is important for not just for Gen Zs, but for everyone. So we have an opinion from Jimo from Nigeria. He says that if there is no transparency in any operations or activities, loopholes will be discovered now or later, which will not be healthy for relationship bonding. The aftermath will not be a good image in general. So that's so true. So if we want to have a good bonding with the consumers, it will be rather better to have, have everything transparent than to hide and break the relation. Okay. So with that, we come to the next question. So how can brands balance transparency with protecting sensitive business information and competitive advantage?
Thank you. I think another great question.
Mm-hmm.
And as I alluded earlier, balancing transparency with competitive protection is about clarity without overexposure. Brands don't have to reveal proprietary algorithm or trade secrets to be radically transparent. They rather need to focus on value-driven openness, transparency on principles, not IP, share commitments on sustainability, diversity, price fairness, or sourcing without disclosing the technical formula or a unique strategy. For instance, a food brand can disclose its ethical supply chain without publishing the recipe. And again, I use the term layered disclosure. Use tiers of transparency. Disclose what builds trust with stakeholder, labor condition, environmental footprints, progress towards goal, while keeping the product roadmap or margins and structures confidential. So it's about context and honesty. Consumers, especially Gen Z, understand that some details must be protected. And what matters is honesty about why some data can be shared. The act itself builds credibility. So it's smart storytelling with data. So instead of giving away sensitive detail, provide digestible dashboard or reports. For example, here's our carbon footprint. Here's our pay equity. Here's our progress metric. Show what accountability is without really undermining strategy. And some of the example from real world is Tesla doesn't reveal its full manufacturing secrets, but openly shares its mission, sustainability metrics, and progress reports. and Patagonia discloses supply chain and repair programs, but it keeps design innovation proprietary. So transparency isn't binary. It's about drawing a line between what strengthens consumer trust and what erodes strategic advantage, and clearly explaining that line to stakeholders. So, brands don't need to expose trade secrets to be transparent. The key is sharing values, impact, progress, while being clear about why certain details can be disclosed. So transparency builds trust, but wisdom is knowing what to share and what to protect. Over to you, Christina.
Very well said, Montana. I think our audience will also agree to it. So it is the tactics is what we share. Okay, just share what is relevant to the audience or like relevant to the consumers. Okay, they don't want all your trade secrets. They want what is going to impact them and what is going to impact the planet. So those relevant details should be shared. Definitely, I totally agree with you. So over to you, Agra. Let's see what
Okay.
the next question we have.
Yeah. So, Moana, our next question is like, which industry faced the greatest pressure adopting this radical transparency, and any examples that you can give so that we can learn from that and we can the company can able to adapt that radical transparency using that example.
Absolutely. Another great question, and thank you for that. Um, I think the more an industry impacts daily life, the less room it has to hide. Transparency becomes not optional, but inevitable. I think first is fashion and apparel. Fast fashion has been heavily criticized for labor exploitation, waste, and greenwashing, right? Consumers now demand, excuse me, supply chain visibility, living wage commitments, and sustainability metrics. Example is Patagonia discloses its supply chain and repair program. Everlane builds its brand on radical transparency by publishing factory details and cost breakdowns. Another industry is food and beverage. There's rising concerns about health, sourcing, environmental impacts that makes this sector highly scrutinized. An example is, Chipotle restaurant shares sourcing practices and farmers partnership. Oatly publishes environmental impact data per product, carbon footprints per cartons of milk. Another industry, I think, is tech and social media, right? With issues around data privacy, AI ethics, and misinformation, tech companies are really under a lot of pressure to disclose data practices and algorithms.
Well
Example
said,
is
yeah.
Apple emphasizes privacy commitments. Some AI firms now publish transparency report on bias and usage. And I think finally, healthcare and pharma is going to be impacted big. COVID really highlighted the public mistrust. There is a demand for clinical trial transparency on drug pricing clarity, and equitable access. An example, from the vaccine in COVID is Moderna and Pfizer. They shared vaccine trial protocols. Johnson and Johnson publicly disclosed clinical data libraries. So, the industries with greatest consumer impact on people's bodies, identities, and environments, they face the most scrutiny. And successful cases show that radical transparency isn't just defensible. It can be a growth driver that can be backend into brand's DNA. So fashion, food, tech, healthcare face the most pressure to be transparent because they touch our health, planet, and privacy. So the more an industry impacts the daily life, the less room it has to hide. I think transparency become not optional, but inevitable. Thank you. Over to you.
Exactly. Yeah. Well said. I guess all the industries are facing this facing these challenges in adopting the radical transparency, and I think they have to at least start with something so that they can adopt the radical transparency and they can get to survive in the future of if they can able to adopt the radical transparency. Like you have mentioned that food industry, they are now sharing that how they are sourcing their food, right? They are now collaborating with their local farming store so that they can able to get the fresh food due to the health hazard they are having. So yes, I think all the industries are facing these challenges, but they have to adopt, because without transparency, the organization won't be able to survive. And there are new companies who are able to foresee this, and they can easily adopt this, and they can easily can get in the market to survive and to sustain in the market, right? So well said, Imran. So we can go to the next question. So what is the long-term risk do brand have or do brand face if they fail to meet Gen Z's transparency standard, and what how they can future-proof their reputation? Can you give some strategies or something?
Thank you. Another great question. A list of items comes to mind. First, erosion of trust, right? Once anybody, or especially Gen Z, perceives a brand as hiding something, it's nearly impossible to regain credibility. So trust once broken, spread virally online. Next is the cancel culture and reputation damage, right? Silence or dishonesty fuels public backlash, boycotts, and reputational crises that are amplified by social media. Next risk could be talent and investor risk. Gen Z isn't just consumers, they're also employees and future investors. Lack of transparency hurts recruitment, can deter ESG conscious investors. And the next one could be competitive um, obsolescence. So transparent competitive will capture loyalty while opaque brands risk irrelevance. So how do you future-proof your reputation? You build transparency into your strategy, not into your PR. Make openness part of operation, not just a marketing campaign anymore. Own your mistakes early. Rapid acknowledgement and corrective action wins more respects than cover-ups. This is something I practice myself. Own up to your mistakes, admit to it, have an action plan, and move on. Use technology for proof. Create dashboards, blockchain tracking, ESG reports. Give the consumers verifiable data. Engage in dialogue. Gen Z values two-way communication. Brands must co-create solution with their communities. Example could be Nike faced backlash over labor practices in the 1990s, admitted to it, and shifted to publishing supplier lists and sustainability reports, future-proofing itself through proactive disclosure. So, the greatest long-term risk isn't just one scandal. It's becoming irrelevant to a generation that sees opacity as an outdated and untrustworthy practice. So it's all about openness. If brands don't meet Gen Z's transparency standards, they risk losing trust, talent, long-term relevance. And the best defense is to hardwire openness into your strategy, share progress, own mistakes, and let consumers see the proof in real time. And finally, in the age of Gen Z, opacity isn't just risky, it's a slow path to irrelevance. Thank you. Over to you.
Yeah, well said, Moldana. So, what I get to know is if the risk of ignoring Gen Z will be like a reputational damage, they will get a social black slash. There will be a chance that if the organization is not able to get the long-term brand survival, they will not able to also get the short-term gains. Initially, they may get short-term gains, but the long-term survival will be difficult. So rather than that, they should be open in terms of their ethical sourcing, in terms of their sustainability, in terms of their pricing breakdown, so that there can be a chance to make themselves future proof. Other than that, I guess supply chain tracking, real time, as you said, real time supply chain tracking, uh, then making themselves proactive in communication, always a two-way communication with the consumer has to be there, so that they can make themselves future proof. And real time reporting is very much important for all the organization to make themselves transparent in front of the Gen Zs. So yeah, I that is very much well said, Mundana. So the key takeaways from our discussion is radical transparency is no longer optional, as Mondana already said from the beginning. It is no longer optional. It is inevitable. It has to be there. Then Gen Z's reward brand, if they align with the value, if they are transparent, if they are doing the both side communication, if they are open in their sourcing, their reporting, so they will value. And Gen Zs are always prone to loyalty if it is aligning with their values, right? And ethical branding has to be there to make the organization a long-term runner in terms of competitiveness. So these are the key takeaways from our discussion. And Christina,
Yes.
and
Yeah, let's go
you can
to
continue.
conclude this
Okay.
session. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah, thank you
Yes.
so much, Arga. So to conclude, so we can see that Gen Z is shaping the brand landscape of the next decade. So the mindset of the consumers are changing completely, not just for Gen Zs, but for everyone. And their expectations are very much clear. The brands must prove their values through action, not just by words. Transparency today is not a marketing gimmick. It is a survival strategy. The companies that dare to show their truth, even if it's imperfect, will be the ones that earn the trust, the loyalty, and long term relevance. So, this is what we can conclude from what we have discussed. So, if the company wants to survive, they need to be transparent with the details that the consumers want. Of course, some of our learners, like our attendees, have like they've asked, like, what about stealing the company secrets? So, as we discussed earlier, it is not about disclosing the secrets of your trading secrets or your the formulas and everything. You need to know what you want to show your consumers, and maybe they're not even interested in knowing what your trade secrets are. They need to know what is going to impact them and what is going to impact the planet. Okay, so I think that much of transparency the companies need to afford. So moving ahead, we have the introduction to Uni Athena. This is about us. Over to you, Arga.
Yeah. Thank you. So Christina, I would like to request, can you just check if there are any kind of questions? In the meantime, I will
Yes.
just have a go through and give a overview on Uni Athena, and this. In the meantime, you just go
Yes.
through the questions. So thank you everyone for being a part of the live discussion. I hope it was engaging and fruitful. Thank you, Mondana, for giving your knowledge and information and your experience. What have you thought of about radical transparency and the current generation, that what the company should do, uh, what the company should strategy come up with some strategies so that they can run for a long term. Now about Uni Athena, as we all know, Uni Athena is a online self-paced and flexible educational program. We believe in flexibility, affordability, and accessibility. More than 4 million global upskillers are here in Uniathena. So in Uniathena, we are familiar and all are familiar with, it's an edtech platform where online free learning upskilling courses and academic degree courses are there, and learner can able to learn in their flexible manner. It is founded in 2019. It is owned by Westford Ventures, which is normally and renownedly known as Westford Education Group. It is operating since 2008 in higher education sector. So the partners and the accreditations in Uniathena are mentioned here. Some of them are Abate University, uh, Universidad Católica de Murcia University, UCAM is there, CIQ University is there. Then we have CMI, Chartered Management Institute. We have SQA. We are partnered with Cassia University. We are partnered with EIE, European Business School. And we are partnered with OTHM qualification. And lastly, we are partnered with FEDE. So these are the partners and accreditations we are affiliated with. You can check our courses from the website, and you can get to know academic courses and academic degree courses from the website. Now, why considering Uniathena? First of all, it is 100% online. The video lectures, the reading materials, all will be online. So there is no going to a college or getting the material doing the classes. All are online. Then the classes or the courses are accredited by university partners. The payments are quite flexible. It is flexible plan and fast track plan is there. Every courses will be having a personal tutors to give them so that learner can get by mentored by someone. It is a self-paced course, and the courses are in modular delivery. So courses will be delivered in modules. So if anyone is looking for a brand building career, learner can and everyone can go through Uniathena and check the relatable course they want to enroll for. So we have MBA course programs. These are some of the MBA programs. We have MBA in operations and project management. We have MBA in industrial and safety management, MBA in quality management, global MBA, executive MBA, MBA in general management, MBA in business analytics and data analytics, MBA in blockchain management, MBA in marketing management. These are some of the MBA programs you can go through. These are some of the testimonials from our earlier learners. They have provided their feedbacks, how they have got the courses and how it become beneficial for them and how it is keeping them on track with the industry. Other than that, this is another learner, Penny. She is a working woman, a mother and a wife. In Uniathena, she has a balanced life and she has also done her MBA from Uniathena itself. So if you want to enroll in Uniathena, you can go through you can check out the admission query team. We have fatima@uniathena.com and we have admission@uniathena.com. You can check it out, and you can also note down this number. You can get in contact or you can get in touch with them. So any questions, Christina, that you have
Yes,
selected?
one common question that everyone has is about the certification. So all the certificates will be mailed to you over your registered mail ID, and the recording of this session is available on all our social media platforms. And a few questions that people have asked is like if yes, if they have like there are ways to be transparent in logistics area. Is there a way to be transparent? And as Mundana,
Mundana,
do you want to
you
take
want
up
to
this
answer?
question?
Margo, I think you go ahead. You had that one, I think.
No. You can go ahead. Then I will, if anything needed, I will add.
Yeah, sure. I think again, it's about balancing that balancing act between a tier disclosure. You don't have to, put all of your secrets there, but really show logistics. So for logistic, it's moving stuff. So basically your carbon footprint, show what you're consuming as fuel. Is it hurting the planet? Is your logistic and supply chain green? Or is it really using the resources to damage the planet and environment around that? So I think that would be a key differentiator in supply chain and logistics. It's all about carbon footprint, environmental impact.
Well said. So yeah, same thing. Reducing carbon footprint, providing real-time data, how the product is being transferred, using the same thing, reducing the carbon footprint, using efficient method of uh, uh, utilizing the transportation of material. So by these factors, I think efficiency in logistics can be done, efficiency in radical transparency can be done. Any other questions, Christine?
Yes, let me check. Here we have one more. Samani from Nigeria has says that he used to purchase products from a company and they always used to require more than my purchase, and after that they repay back. I don't know what type of business is this. This will downgrade the reputation of the company. Is this a business strategy? So this is what Samani wants to know. So, if there is any issue with the product, they tend to either repay it or send the product back. Wouldn't this, affect the reputation of the company, or, being transparent isn't important for them, or how is it?
I think definitely it will hamper the reputation, because what I feel is the company is trying to do is they are trying to get the uh, maximum good reviews initially by giving a fault product, and somehow they are enabling the customer to give a feedback, to give a refund or replaced product without using the bad reviews. So they are trying the fake reviews. Using the fake reviews, they are getting uh, the highest selling. But in the long run, they won't be able to survive. These are occurring. These are happening in many places.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. When there is a relationship cannot be built on lies. Okay, that's what I believe. Okay, so it is the same thing when it comes to buyer and seller relationship. Okay, so we need to any relationship needs truth in it. So it would rather be better if the sellers display the reality of the product, what is the USP of the product, rather than covering up. So here we have a few questions related to the courses. Okay, so Arga, can you go to the slide where we have the contact details? Okay, so if
Yes,
we
yes,
yes,
yes.
Tebogo, we do have free courses, so you can try them out from our website. You can check them out. Or if you are interested in knowing some particular courses, you can contact on this mail ID and this WhatsApp number. And Noah, yes, we do have finance related courses. I'm not sure about particularly financial economics, but then yes, we do have finance related courses. So anything related to courses, you can just reach out to this mail ID and this WhatsApp contact. Our team will revert back to you. And regarding the certification, you just have to fill the form that will be sent to your registered mail ID to claim your certificate. Okay. And that is about it regarding questions, I guess.
Okay.
Yes.
So uh, we can wind up and we can end the live discussion here. Christina, would you like
Yes.
to end?
Yes. Thank you so much, Mondana, for your time and the session. Your insights will be definitely very helpful for us and for our participants. And I thank all our participants over here, and I hope you liked this session. Please share your views. And yes, if you have any questions related to the courses, please reach out to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you for a
everyone.
great
Thank you,
session.
Munda.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.